If you love tomatoes like I do, when summer rolls around, there's nothing better than cooking with fresh, ripe tomatoes from your garden. But when it's winter, what do? I reach for a can of tomatoes, and if you're like me, you probably have a stash in your pantry. Today we're going to make a few recipes using canned tomatoes. We'll make tomato tartare with capers, black olives, and basil, a savory tomato bread pudding with Parmigiano Reggiano, garlic, and basil, and crispy, delicious fried tomatoes. These recipes will bring a little bit of summer into a winter day.
I love to travel the globe in search of new food and wine discoveries. For me, it's about more than returning home with a handful of new recipes. It's about taking the spirit of Austria, of Italy, of Greece, and of the Danube River, and injecting some of their magic into our everyday lives. Food has a unique ability to transport us. Join me as we discover new plates and places on our culinary journey together.
Joanne Weir's Plates and Places is brought to you by...
With AMA Waterways, guests can climb, pedal, and journey beyond the beaten path while cruising on storied rivers across Europe. You can find out more at amawaterways.com.
Our winemaking is the result of teamwork and patience. Working together, we dedicate our best efforts with every vine, grape, and bottle. Washington Vintners.
Since 1899, my family shared our passion for everything that goes into our Mutti 100% Italian tomatoes. Only tomatoes, only Mutti.
Start something delicious. California figs from Valley Fig Growers.
I am standing in the middle of the most incredible field of tomatoes. Look at this. All around me, there are mountains. This is called the Food Valley. Yes, F-O-O-D, the Food Valley. We're right outside of Parma, and the reason they call it the Food Valley is because of the ingredients, the fabulous ingredients that come from here. Parmigiano Reggiano, prosciutto di Parma, tomatoes. And check this out. Check out that hill right up there. Those are vines, grapevines, and they make Lambrusco here. And honestly, I am dying for an ice cold glass of Lambrusco right now. When I went to the Food Valley, one of the things that I remember, and I can still conjure it up, is the smell of those tomatoes. Honestly, it was just rows and rows and fields of tomatoes. It smelled so good to me. As a tomato lover, I was in heaven, tomato heaven.
This is truly tomato heaven. Look at this. Can't you almost smell them? Can you feel the heat? It's the height of summer, when the time to harvest tomatoes is now. This is a multi-generational family farm operation. And although tomatoes didn't arrive on the scene in Europe until the 16th century, boy, you can see by these farmers that they've made up for lost time. As you know, Italy is a country whose passion for tomatoes is known throughout the world. And as you can see, such care is taken in sorting and choosing the ripest tomatoes for the table. I'm here with the Vitali family, and I'm outside of Parma. They're incredible tomato growers and passionate about tomatoes. This is Giulia, Rosetta, Fausto, and Franco. Whew, I got all their names. And so how many years has your family, or how many generations have you been growing tomatoes?
Saranno 50 anni, 50 years.
50 years, wow. Okay, so this is your grandmother,
Yeah.
your grandfather, and your father.
Yes.
Do you eat tomatoes every day? No?
Loro sì.
But these are really beautiful. So tell me, how long is the harvest? How long does the harvest take?
2 mesi e mezzo circa.
2.5 months. Okay, so for the rest of the year, you're just sitting?
Magari.
You're just resting?
No, per la prossima programmazione della campagna si pensa già a quali varietà sono andate bene durante la campagna, quali si possono sperimentare, nuove tecniche.
And so how many acres do you have?
50.
50.
Wow, that's a lot of tomatoes.
Sì.
A lot of tomatoes, yes.
Quando ci sono tutti nei campi sono tanti. Quando abbiamo finito, insomma, si sta già meglio. Dopo bisogna preparare tutte le macchine, lavare tutto,
Yes.
pulire, manutenzione.
Right. Is it always this hot?
Poi dipende. Esatto. Poi dipende, però il lavoro è quello, cioè con tanti ettari c'è il lavoro.
Yeah.
È assicurato quello.
Yes. You do an incredible job for the land, and I want to thank you so much.
One of the things that I was so struck by, and I still remember, is how hot it was there. Honestly, I was just dripping. It was just incredible. And I watched the people and the people working and growing the tomatoes and picking those tomatoes. And it's just the dedication and the passion and the love that they have to get those tomatoes, to pick them at the right time, get them in the can within 24 hours, which is unbelievable, which is why they taste so fresh. And I just was struck with all of it. I was so inspired by my time in Parma and all those tomatoes that I thought it would be fun to make a tomato bread pudding. I know people make bread pudding sweet, but I thought I'm going to go in the savory direction. So I'm going to just toast this in the oven. And I'm using a nice coarse textured bread for this. If it's a day old, it's fine. If you got leftover bread, this is a great thing to do with it. With some nice fruity extra virgin olive oil, I'm just pouring that over the bread with a little bit of salt. Just using a little bit of kosher salt. And then toss that together. These are probably 1 to 1.5 inch pieces, 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. But it's a really good idea to check them every once in a while and then just toss those because the ones on the edge are going to brown a little bit more quickly. All right, what we want to do now is just to saute some onions. So we need some aromatics for this, and that will be onions and garlic. So you want to heat your pan, add a little bit of oil, and then we're going to add some chopped onions. I'm just using yellow onions that are chopped. This is a tomato bread pudding, so we need some tomatoes. I have canned tomatoes. These are whole tomatoes. And what I did was to pour them into a sieve like this, and then the juice runs out from the bottom, and I'm gonna snip these just with some scissors. And I'm cutting them into about 1/2 inch pieces. And then I take the tomatoes and add those to the juice. And of course, don't throw away any of the juice. I'm adding that as well. Don't forget your onions. You're just going to continue to stir those periodically. And we don't want to take on much color. All I want to do is just have them soften, and they will also be translucent. Sometimes what I do is I'll add a pinch of salt, and what that does is it draws the moisture out of the onions and helps them to cook a little bit faster. This takes about 5 to 7 minutes. The onions are soft and translucent now, so I'm adding some minced garlic. I don't add at the beginning because I find that if you add it at the beginning, you don't have that nice garlic flavor that's so delicious and so pungent. I like it right at the end so it has that nice fresh flavor. So just 1 minute. Okay. Now that I smell the garlic, I turn the heat off. Golden brown and nice and crispy, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to make the custard for this. I'm using 5 eggs and a little bit of milk. You can use non-fat, low-fat milk. That would be absolutely fine. And if you feel really decadent, go for cream. And I'm adding a couple teaspoons of salt. So 1, 2. I'm adding a little bit of grated Parmigiano Reggiano, That's really delicious. It will go well with the flavors. Also adds a little bit of salt. And the tomatoes with the juice, that's important. And the onions will add a lot of flavor. Onions and garlic. Basil and tomatoes, perfect combination, perfect marriage. So I'm just picking the leaves of the basil. If you want to tear the basil, you can do that. But I thought it would be just as easy to chiffonade it. So just take the leaves and pile them on top of each other. And of course you know how to do this. Roll them up, cut them in very thin strips. Chiffonade, it means ribbon. See, these are little ribbons. Then you can add that. Oh, the smell of basil is so wonderful. It's just so great. Every single time, it's got that sweetness and kind of a richness that I love. And a little bit of chopped oregano. And then just stir this all together. Oh, I want to add a little bit of pepper. What's kind of nice about this is to have these chunks of tomato and this delicious liquid that has that beautiful tomato flavor. All right, now finally, the bread. This is cooled just slightly. That olive oil gives really nice flavor to the bread as well. This is such a great dish. I mean, it's a great breakfast, lunch, or dinner dish, which is what I love. Stir this all together. And I know it looks like a mess right now, but after it bakes, it puffs up. It's so delicious. And that bread just absorbs all that wonderful liquid. I have an oiled 9x9 baking dish, and this is just extra virgin olive oil. And then you can just take this mixture and pour it right into the dish. What's great about this is you could even get this all set an hour before, leave it in your refrigerator when you're ready to bake it, just pop it in the oven. Okay, now this goes into a 350-degree oven for about 45 to 50 minutes. It'll be nice and golden brown on the top.
I'm here to meet farmer Luca Cotti, who not only grows tomatoes, but also makes Parmigiano Reggiano cheese.
Wow, it's hot out here. Molto caldo. See?
Sì, molto caldo, molto.
I'm here with Luca Cotti, and he has this fabulous tomato farm, and he also makes Parmigiano Reggiano. Anyway, tell me a little bit about your tomato harvest. And right now, I see that everything is ripe. Are you in the midst of the tomato harvest and ready to pick?
Sì, abbiamo cominciato da una settimana e è una campagna che durerà almeno 50 giorni, quindi siamo proprio all'inizio.
50 days? Tell me a little bit about the rotation of the crops. That's interesting to me.
Sì, nella nostra azienda il prodotto principale è il latte per il parmigiano reggiano. E avere la stalla e avere tanti campi di foraggiera, in particolare di erba medica, è diciamo, come rotazione una delle ottimali anche per il pomodoro, perché ha molta sostanza organica, molti terreni ricchi e una rotazione molto molto lunga.
So tell me a little bit more about the connection.
Una delle cose più importanti è una grande disponibilità di letame. Un'altra cosa invece è questa rotazione molto allungata. Nella mia azienda abbiamo 70% di foraggiere e solo un 25-30% di pomodoro.
Right. So how many years do you grow your tomatoes for?
Io da sempre, perché mio nonno coltivava i pomodori, mio padre coltivava i pomodori, io coltivo i pomodori. Quindi io dico da sempre ho coltivato i pomodori.
Can you plant tomatoes every single year in the same field?
No, è proibito dal disciplinare regionale, ma comunque noi non abbiamo assolutamente bisogno per via della rotazione. Ho bisogno di fare molte foraggiere, quindi il pomodoro va ogni 3-4 anni.
So during those years, what do you plant?
Allora, se in successione mettiamo l'erba medica, alfalfa, può durare anche 5 anni.
Wow.
E quello che ho detto prima sono delle medie, perché un'erba medica può durare anche 5 anni. Oppure mettiamo delle foraggiere graminacee oppure del frumento, del grano.
Wow. So that's a long process. So you have to rotate all over your property. You have to keep moving the fields where you are planting the tomatoes.
Esatto, sì.
Yes, yes. So what is your favorite thing to do with tomatoes? What's your favorite recipe? Ricetta.
La ricetta per me, io quella che preferisco, che cucino io, che piace molto a me, è pasta passata
Yeah, just simple.
e una cipollina.
Yeah. But the best tomatoes. They're the best. See, it's
Anche un pochino di olio.
And of course, what do you put? Do you sprinkle a little cheese, a little Parmigiano?
Su tutto, sì, non l'ho dimenticato perché io lo metto su tutto.
Oh, of course. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. It's great talking to you. Thank you.
This smells so good. Yum.
Ooh, beautiful.
All those great herbs. I can really smell the basil and the oregano. I love that. But of course, you have to have a glass of wine with this, right? I chose a nice Calabrian wine. That's the southern part of Italy. It's nice and light. I think it's going to be perfect with this. Let's see. Wow. My first bite, and I got tomatoes and basil. Like, what is more perfect than that, right? Oh, this is so delicious. The bread's amazing. Oh, that's wonderful. What a beautiful pairing. I'm so excited about this. I'm in Parma, where tomatoes really flourish, and I'm gonna cook up some incredible tomato recipes. Come on, join me in the kitchen.
I was so inspired by this restaurant in a 15th century grain mill. You can still see the old millstones, and I love the romantic, winding pathway in this Italian garden in the middle of this agricultural suburb of Parma. They do so many things with tomatoes here in Parma, and today I'm learning something new. It's a tomato tartare recipe made using canned tomatoes. It's topped with fresh ricotta and finished with basil and fruity extra virgin olive oil. And check this out. Who would think to deep fry Roma tomatoes? Believe it or not, they're really delicious, served simply with fresh greens and finished with sea salt. Let me show you how to make them.
I know it sounds weird, but I'm doing a tomato tartare. You know, everybody does a beef tartare, but I think this is kind of a cool idea, and I learned it from a friend in Italy. He's a 4th-generation tomato grower. You can use either fresh or canned tomatoes, and I'm using canned tomatoes because what's wrong with, you know, you're thinking February, I'm dying for some tomatoes. Grab a can. Just buy diced tomatoes, and then what I did was I poured them through a strainer. The liquid went to the bottom, and then I've got the tomatoes, but I did it yesterday, so 24 hours. So I've got just the tomato and all that deliciousness right here in the sieve. And then I'm going to just place this in another bowl. And you can save that tomato juice for something else. Make a Bloody Mary. That would be delicious. Okay, I'm adding to this some capers, just some diced capers. And also some olives, black olives that have been diced also. And a little bit of parsley. In Italy, it's called prezzemolo. And then I thought it would be fun. This is veering off a little bit, but I'm adding a little bit of crushed red pepper. I think it would be nice to have the sweetness of the tomatoes and then that nice little bit of pop from the crushed red pepper. And then a little bit of salt. Always remember that whenever you cook with tomatoes, you always want to add some salt. It brings out the sweetness and also the acidity. And just stir this together. All of these ingredients are so nice and aromatic. I think they'll really be delicious. And what I love about this dish, all you have to do is remember the tomatoes 24 hours before, but it's so easy to make. Now, it's really important to taste this. So good. You get the saltiness of the olives and the capers, the sweetness of the tomatoes. It's really, really wonderful. And how easy is this? Really, these are my kind of dishes. I just love this. And it's kind of a wow dish. Wait till you see. All right. What I have is a ring of bread that I've cut into a circle, brushed it with a little bit of olive oil, and then toasted that in the oven. And I'm just placing that in the center of the ring. You could also use some pecorino. That's what my friend in Italy did, and it was good too. A really nice fresh pecorino. Just a thin slice would be really great. And then take your tomatoes and just fill the ring. Use your spoon to press the tomatoes so it fills it completely. And then just lift your ring. Beautiful. And also a chiffonade of basil. And of course, you all know how to do that now. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of basil around the plate and onto the top. You know what else? A little pinch of that crushed red pepper, I think, right on the top. Just a touch. And a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just a bit, drizzled around and right onto the top. And finally, the last thing is a little bit of shaved Parmigiano Reggiano right on the top. I've been so excited about tasting this dish again. It's so great. You know, all the flavors are there. It's wonderful, it's bright, it's just such a fantastic dish. I really love the simplicity of it. One of my favorite places to travel to is Italy. And one of the things that I love so much are the ingredients, especially the tomatoes. Whether they're fresh or canned, one of the best things about tomatoes is that you can add them to your cooking every single day of the year. Chin chin.
You can visit our website to find and print selected recipes, get information about each episode, learn more about Joanne and the show, see behind-the-scenes photos, provide email feedback, and more. It's all at joanneweir.com/plates-places. Joanne Weir's Plates and Places is brought to you by...
With AMA Waterways, guests can climb, pedal, and journey beyond the beaten path while cruising on storied rivers across Europe. You can find out more at amawaterways.com.
Our winemaking is the result of teamwork and patience. Working together, we dedicate our best efforts with every vine, grape, and bottle. Washington Vintners.
Since 1899, my family has shared our passion for everything that goes into our Mutti 100% Italian tomatoes. Only tomatoes, only Mutti.
Start something delicious. California figs from Valley Fig Growers.